Cosmic Wonder. Subscribe, tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. Now help me out, Wonder, because I did not understand the post-credit scene with that damn roach. Help our brother out, man.
Alright, so Venom 3, The Last Dance, right away. If you have seen it, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. I'll give you my unfiltered thoughts about it later on. But let's talk about the ending and those two post-credit scenes, and talk about how they actually do set up Spider-Man 4. Now, if you haven't heard, the latest rumors and reports about Spider-Man 4 were that Null and Venom were going to be appearing in the movie. Now, Tom Holland has stated that there are things they still need to work out, and they are still working on the script currently, but he did say the idea is crazy, and it is something that they've never done before. Then you have Tom Hardy, who plays Venom/Eddie Brock, who said that he's done with Venom, but he also did say Spider-Man is someone who could possibly get him to return, and he specifically said Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So there are a lot of signs that point to Venom and Null in Spider-Man 4, and even if you haven't seen Venom 3, you probably know that Sony said, hey, this is not the end for Null, and if you have seen the movie, you know that it's just barely the beginning for him. So first, let's talk about the ending of Venom 3, The Last Dance. And yeah, we are going to go into some spoilers in this. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, this is your warning. So
that's
at the
right.
End of Venom 3.
Spoiler, Venom dies, I think. I hate when they kill characters at the end like that, just to end the trilogy. Irritating to me.
The Last Dance. Venom sacrifices himself. Now, the post-credit scene makes it seem like Venom is definitely still alive, but as far as Eddie is concerned, and as far as the audience is concerned in this moment, Venom, the symbiote, is dead, and Eddie is still alive, so he goes to New York. And although we do not see anything about multiverse travel at the end here...
He goes to New York because Venom wanted to see Lady Liberty. He didn't get to do it, so he did it for the both of them.
Or in the post-credit scenes, they set it up for multiverse travel at the end. Eddie Brock goes to New York to see the Statue of Liberty, because that's what Venom said he always wanted to see. In fact, there was a pretty touching and emotional moment at the end before he sacrifices himself, where he says, I really would have liked to have seen the Statue of Liberty. So at the end, Eddie Brock goes to New York to see the Statue of Liberty, and he says, I'll never forget you, pal. But here's where things get interesting. In this movie, and in the post-credit scenes for Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home, they've established a few rules. One, yes, they did kind of address the No Way Home post-credit scene. It's established that those are two different universes. So, technically right now, there is a piece of the Venom symbiote in the MCU. So that's a big setup that they're doing right there, and that could actually lead to Venom reuniting with Eddie Brock when Eddie makes his way over to the MCU, which they set up with the ending of this film with him being in New York. Because the other thing that Venom Let There Be Carnage's post-credit scene and the Spider-Man No Way Home's post-credit scene established, along with the beginning of Venom 3, is that the multiverse travel is simply traveling through the multiverse and not actually through space. And this is what I mean by that. Venom is originally in a hotel in Mexico when he gets brought over to the MCU in the post-credit scene of Venom Let There Be Carnage. When he's brought over, he doesn't travel through space. He is still there at the same exact spot in Mexico, just simply in a different universe. The next time we see him is in the Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene. He is at a bar in Mexico, still in the MCU, but then, thanks to the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, he goes...
I assume the hotel bar.
Back to the Sony Spider-Verse, but in the beginning of Venom 3, they show us that he is in the same bar, but now in the Sony Spider-Man adjacent universe. So what these two post-credit scenes in the beginning of Venom 3 shows us is that you don't actually move through space. Wherever you are in one universe, if you kind of multiverse travel to another, you pretty much stay in the same spot, unless that universe happens to be just completely different. And there's a big reason they do this, because at the end, Eddie is in New York. Well, who else do we know to be in New York?
Spider-Man.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So based off of the rules that they have already established, if the incursions start to happen, or if some type of multiverse crossover happens with the Sony Spider-Verse and the MCU, well then Venom will be in New York. So if he somehow gets transferred over to the MCU again, then he'll be transferred to the MCU in New York City because that's where he is in the Sony Spider-Verse. So right away, I'd say that's a pretty big setup for Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock to cross over to the MCU, because we obviously know the multiverse is going to collapse. We know that Secret Wars will basically give us only one thing left, one universe left. The entire multiverse has been destroyed, and probably only Battleworld is left. So at some point in time, these universes are going to fuse with each other. Like, we already know that we're going to get the Fox X-Men universe, the one that Deadpool and Wolverine are in right now. They're going to be coming over to the main MCU timeline at some point. I'm assuming the same thing probably happens to Eddie Brock. I don't think characters like Madam Web and Morbius are going to be joining the MCU, but I really think Sony could be just really missing out on a huge opportunity.
I'd be willing to give Morbius a second chance. Ha ha! But not Madam Web.
Woo!
Terrible.
The MCU. Now, there are two ways that Venom can actually return.
Super terrible.
One is the second post-credit scene, where we see now the famous bartender, played by Cristo Fernandez, walk out of the rubble of the destroyed...
I think that he could be done correctly if the right people get a hold of Morbius. You get what I'm saying? The way they did Madam Web, no. Just, oh, good Lord. It's not even who she's supposed to be. It's, oh, God.
Area 51. Poor guy, everybody forgot about him. He's obviously super confused, super scared, but the real point of this post-credit scene was to show a cockroach that looks as if a black symbiote has bonded with it. Now, this is
I didn't notice
intentional because if you recall, Dr. Payne in the movie states that cockroaches are 200 million years old and they can survive anything. Literally, that line was only placed in there to set up this post-credit scene and to basically set up that even though Venom sacrifices himself, saves Eddie in the process, kills...
Can someone explain to me also why the chick had electricity powers and the whole electricity symbiotes? Someone help me out with that.
All the xenophages and himself with acid. What they set up and what they're trying to say is that during this process, when everyone was dying, including Venom, a piece of the Venom symbiote bonded with a cockroach during this moment, therefore allowing the symbiote to live, because cockroaches can survive anything. So that's the post-credit scene. Plus the cockroach was kind of next to...
Maybe he'll be more resilient now when he comes back.
One of those test tubes or vials that the symbiotes were in. The vial was empty, of course, but the cockroach was
that's
black
the one,
and slimy.
That's the one that she cracked open, though. It had the electricity.
Symbiote had bonded to it. So Venom could still be alive in the Sony universe, which is quite interesting because both Tom Hardy and Sony and everybody has been saying that this is it for Tom Hardy's Venom. And it might be because we believe he's going over to the MCU for Spider-Man. So yeah, it might be his last time doing a solo Venom movie, but I think we're going to see him again, because another way that they could actually reunite Venom with Eddie Brock in the MCU was set up in the Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene, where a piece of the Venom symbiote was left behind. It's literally a piece of Venom. So during whatever events start to happen in Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars and the universes start to collapse and fuse with each other, if Eddie Brock ends up in the MCU, he could get reunited with that piece of the Venom symbiote, which still should be Venom, because it came from Venom.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it would obviously know who Eddie was.
It should remember, I was going to say, it should remember him, have all its memories and everything, I assume.
And since it bonded with him, I'm sure it could probably actually sense him. But there is also another big theory out there, and this goes with the report that we heard not too long ago, that in Spider-Man 4,
It'll run into Spider-Man first and then go to Eddie.
Might actually die, and the Venom symbiote will save him. And that actually does connect with what they set up in Venom The Last Dance. They set up the Codex, and the Codex...
I was going to say, then you'll have another Codex going.
Created when a Venom symbiote saves a host from dying. That's when the Codex is created, and that of course is what Noel needs to break out of his prison. And they established that Noel kind of exists outside of universes itself. Like, he is not in the exact multiverse, he is outside of space and time. And that's how it is in the comics as well. He is technically in a void, and we've definitely heard that before in the MCU. But this implies that he could go to essentially any multiverse that he wants to, and they did establish that he can create portals as well. So this is another big indicator that Noel could be going to the MCU. And we've heard that Spider-Man, of course, is going to be getting that black Venom symbiote suit, so perhaps a codex is created with Peter Parker and the Venom symbiote. That would bring Noel over to the MCU, and somehow we would get Eddie Brock over there as well, I'm assuming via incursions or other forms of multiverse travel. Because right now, as far as we know, Noel is still trapped. He did not get a codex. He thinks the Venom symbiote is dead, but it's not. And Sony has stated they have many more movies with Noel to come. Maybe one of those is going to be in the MCU, maybe not. But it certainly is set up right now if they want to go down that route. And the way Tom Hardy has been saying that, yeah, Tom Holland's Spider-Man could get him to come back, and the way that Tom Holland is saying that the script for Spider-Man 4 is crazy and nothing like what they've done before, well, that is really hinting that a crossover could be coming. Now, of course, we don't know. It's not confirmed. But if they decide they want to do that, they set it up actually in a pretty decent way without actually having to mention Spider-Man. But Venom is still alive. Eddie is still alive. Noel is still trapped. He's going to need a codex to get out, and since they have other movies planned, he clearly is going to get that codex at some point in time. So, as fans, would you like Tom Holland's Spider-Man to bond with the Venom symbiote and create a codex via the symbiote bringing him back to life? Or would you like Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock to return and reunite with the Venom symbiote once again? Or would you want all of it? Because that actually is a possibility.
All of it, of course. I wanted to get with Peter, save his life if possible, gain the spider powers. Then, once he gets with Eddie, you've got this spider symbol on it. He's spinning webs. He's got Spider-Man's powers, and he's immune to spider sense.
The Venom symbiote exists in both universes right now, so Venom in the Sony Spider-Verse could reunite with Eddie Brock, and then the Venom symbiote in the 616 universe could go to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Then Tom Hardy's Venom could go over to the MCU and fight alongside Spider-Man's Venom against Noel. That is entirely possible, and that would be big. That would be pretty crazy, like Tom Holland has described the script of Spider-Man 4, but we'll have to wait and see on that. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments down.
All right, Wonder. Thank you for that info. Helped me out a little bit. I still need that electricity chick's powers explained. I have no idea who she is. 10 million subscribers. Woo!